Hi guys. So today I want to be talking about anxiety and overthinking, and I want to be sharing an awareness through my own experience. So this video might be a little bit lengthy, but please spare me a little bit of your time, and I hope this video helps you. I was never an anxious person. I never overanalyzed anything. I was never an overthinker. Matter of fact, I used to live life very carefully. I used to live life like I had no problems, like I had no issues to deal with. Like I never worried so much. I never took on people's burden. I never burdened myself with anything. That's how I was until I found myself in an unhealthy relationship. Now, this relationship caused me to become an anxious person, an overthinker. I was constantly filling in the blanks for this person, just the entire situation generally, to be very honest. Now, I'm saying this, I'm talking about this because I want to give a little bit of context. And I remember that I dealt with panic attacks. Mind you, I've never dealt with panic attacks. I've never, ever like seen anything like that. I've never experienced it. I never knew what the symptoms were. So when I started dealing with it, I had no idea that I was dealing with panic attacks. So I found myself not being able to breathe properly. My hands were constantly shaking, and I was constantly worrying. Like I would literally have to go to the balcony to get fresh air just to breathe properly. And I experienced that like I think 4 or 5 times. So it was weird. Like in my family, we have like a heart situation, so we can't do certain things. If not, like we'll not be able to catch our breath or something. So I thought that was what the problem was. So I decided to visit a doctor. After the entire checkup, the doctor sat me down and, asked me a bit of questions, and I answered properly. And he said, nothing is wrong with your heart. You've just been experiencing panic attacks. And I was shocked because like from where to where, you get like the Nigerian me was like, how did we get here? So it was unbelievable because like panic attacks from where? You must be talking to the wrong person, because I know that I deal with anxiety. I know I'm an overthinker, but like panic attacks, that's like the extreme. That's like at the extreme. Do you get? And it wasn't. To be very honest, it might sound funny, but it wasn't funny at that time. It genuinely wasn't funny at that time. And he prescribed some drugs for me and told me to talk to a therapist. The Nigerian in me, the Nigerian in me literally waved that off, which let's not do that. Let's talk to a therapist if we need to. But at that time, the Nigerian in me was like, hell no, like we ain't doing this. So I went back home and I noticed it was a continuous experience. Like it did not stop. So I knew that, okay, yes, this is really, this has gotten really bad. When I realized that it was really bad, like it had gotten really, really bad, from overthinking to anxiety to panic attacks, I knew that I had to get out of this situation. And the situation that I was in, the relationship, wasn't really helping. And I remember at that time when I told my partner at that time, what the doctor told me, he was like, girl, this ain't no panic attack. Like he literally did not take me seriously. He didn't care for my well-being, and he kept just adding. He just kept adding to the problem. I'm like, no, absolutely not. This person doesn't care about my well-being. I cannot do this anymore. I remember always crying. It was such a scary thing because I felt like I knew what I was in, but I don't know if you guys can relate, but I just felt like I couldn't get out. Like I was stuck. It just felt like a bondage. Like, is this my life now? This is my life. I was this close to just choosing that life. Like, you know what? I'm just going to accept the fact that I'm in this unhealthy relationship. I've become an anxious person. I've become an overthinker. I now deal with panic attacks. It's fine. Like, cool. But I remember one night, I was overthinking that night and I was so anxious. And I just went to the balcony and I just cried my eyes out and I talked to God and I just said, God, with all humility, I'm putting this in your hands. Like I'm surrendering. Like I can't do this anymore. This is beyond me. This is beyond my capacity. This is beyond my control. This is beyond my power. I was not born for this. This is beyond my strength. This is beyond anything that I could ever do. And I talked to God. And after talking to God that night, something just shifted in my life. I promise you that it might sound cliche, but something really shifted. And for very odd reasons, I took very intentional steps to just leave that relationship and find my own path. And that was when I became intentional with my relationship. So, with my relationship with God. So, when I talk about God, guys, you all know that I've got a very strong reason with the way I brag about God, because God has come through for me, not just in relationships, but every aspect of my life. But here's the tricky part. I'm sure you all think that, oh, she has come out of the relationship. I'm sure she's good. I'm sure she has dealt with the anxiety. No. Actually, no. I was just concentrating on my relationship with God, trying to become more intentional with my relationship with God. But I still had anxiety. I was still an overthinker. I wasn't really dealing with panic attacks, to be very honest, but I was overthinking a lot. It affected my relationship with God. It affected my relationship with people. Hell, it affected my relationship with myself, because I was constantly worrying about situations in my life, seasons in my life that God had put me in. I was constantly just unnecessarily carrying other people's burdens. I just always constantly felt heavy, and it was so uncomfortable. It was a very uncomfortable situation. And full honesty, I never really took intentional steps in healing that part of my life. I just constantly, it got to a point where I took pride in being an overthinker and an anxious person. Like, I didn't really care much. I'm like, well, at the end of the day, whoever will love me will love me. This is who I am, blah, blah, blah. I identified as an anxious person and an overthinker. And I know that most of people still do. But God spoke to me through my friends. Now, I've had conversations about my anxiety and my overthinking with my family, just with people. But this particular night when my friends talked to me, I just could not let go of those words. It's like I needed to use those words to do something. Like I needed to use them. Things changed in the sense that those words stuck to me. I realized how terrible my overthinking was and how bad my anxiety was, and how it also makes people really uncomfortable. I'll be very honest, because you might not know this, but anxiety and being an overthinker affects people around you. That's the truth. It really does affect people around you. It affects your relationship with people. It affects your life in general. And so I came back home that night, and I did a little bit of research on how to control anxiety and negative thoughts and just overthinking in general. And I prayed. I talked to God that, okay, I'm about to take intentional steps, and I want you to empower these steps because I cannot do it by myself. I genuinely couldn't. And so after I prayed, after I talked to God about the steps that I wanted to take concerning this aspect of my life, I really started taking intentional steps. So I studied my Bible more. And yes, I know people might say, oh, it sounds cliche, Bible, praying, but it really did help. And like I said, I'm only creating awareness through my own experience. So I studied my word more, filled myself with intentional scriptures, things that just align with my life. And now, anytime words come, negative thoughts, I just always have something to replace them with, because you have to have a replacement. So I would constantly replace them with positive words and scriptures generally. And the truth is, we're never going to be perfect. There would still be times where in certain situations we're going to overthink. But I think the difference is growth, awareness, and control. The truth is, anxiety can be controlled. Overthinking can definitely be controlled. Like, it really just takes you, to be very honest. It really just takes that awareness that, okay, we're overthinking the situation. We're anxious about this. Let's breathe. And I've been able to also learn communication. Like when I was an overthinker and an anxious person, bro, you will not see me communicating about it. Like I'll just allow it all dwell inside of me, and it will just be eating me up, and I will just be anxious, and then it will just linger in my head for like a period of time, and you wouldn't know, but it's creating more anxiety in you. So I've been able to really communicate, and communication has helped me a lot, a lot. If you're like me, who is very aware of being an overthinker and being anxious, and you're taking intentional steps to work on that part of your life, I would really advise not to surround yourself not to put yourself in an unhealthy situation or surround yourself with unhealthy people, because I promise you, you would only find yourself in square one. You would be heading back to square one, and it would not help you at all. So surround yourself with people who are very intentional, who are to an extent very healthy. You know, they add to your peace. They don't bring you peace, they add to your peace. You're already doing the work to maintain your peace and steward your peace, but they are really adding to your peace. They're not constantly making you question a lot of things. So I hope I've been able to convince you and not to confuse you that anxiety doesn't control you, but you, my darling, you control anxiety, because the devil is a liar. Period. The devil is truly a liar, and he wants you to think your identity is rooted in anxiety, or your identity is that you are an overthinker, but you're not. You're not. We've been created in the image of our Father and in His likeness, so we cannot be anxious people. Even the word says we should not be anxious for nothing, but we should pray about everything. So you can control anxiety, you can control overthinking, and I'm proud to say that I have graduated and I've been able to navigate through this aspect of my life, and all thanks to God. To be very honest, God really played a big role. I'm also very, very grateful to my friends, my family, because they've been a very huge support system. They never judged me, they never condemned me. Every single time I would panic or be anxious, they would always come through for me. And I'm grateful for the people that I've recently surrounded myself with. It's been an amazing journey, and it's still something that I'm figuring out, to be very honest, but I know that at least I have an experience to talk about, and I've been, by the grace of God and the help of God and my family, I've really been able to navigate through it. And I pray that it only gets better from here. And I pray that as we all take intentional steps to heal this aspect of our life, I really pray that God will empower those steps. And I pray that we would only be able to share good news and our experiences and help others too. Thank you, beloved.